Welcome to the Smoking Word. Welcome to the.
What's up, everybody? Guess who's back with another one? This podcast is brought to you by CasaDeRock.com. That's my merch spot. If you want to support the podcast, you want to support me, or you just want to look good, go cop some merch. We got a lot of cool stuff there. We actually got a couple of prints available right now for $15. We're trying to make room for a bunch of new stuff we're about to drop. So go get them while we got them. Also, follow me at Hoya Rock 357 on Instagram. Keep you up to date. We're getting ready to do another Madball album. We're dropping more podcasts. We're doing a lot of stuff, keeping busy during this cold fuckery. And also, make sure, I said it before and I'll say it again, it doesn't count unless you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to our catch us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, catch us on YouTube. Also, my dog that you hear in the background is going to bite that ass. But for real, it doesn't cost nothing, but it goes a long way. It shows everybody out there that we're making some noise. So make sure to follow us, subscribe, leave a message. We have a lot of cool episodes coming. And today, I got an old friend, New York hardcore OG, Chaka, Burn, Orange 9mm. Let's set this shit off.
To the Smoking Word.
What up, Chaka, what up?
Hoya. What's good? Queens in the house, right?
You know what's up? It's funny, we're going to get to the Queens part. That's one of my first things we're going to get into, but I was like, welcome to the Smoking Word podcast, my brother. Yes.
How are you?
Shit. Queens in the motherfucking building, by the way.
Yeah. How's my light? Is it like my good side, my bad
No,
side?
you're good. Right now, you're illuminated.
Oh, there we go. Bam.
Yeah, good. But
Damn.
let me ask you, because right now I'm reporting from my cave in South Florida, but how's my New York doing? That's
Brick.
what I want to know.
It's brick. It's like the Knicks for the last 5 years before now.
Yeah, I heard it's fucking freezing in New York right now.
Yeah, it's not great.
And where you at now? Where you living at now?
I'm in Bushwick.
You're in Bushwick, okay.
The Bush.
How long you been in Bushwick?
Fuck, man. It's like 2 years, 2.5 years, some shit.
Oh, something like that. So it's funny, like, it's funny, like a lot of the old Queens dudes I know end up in the spots that we used to talk shit on. Like, fuck Brooklyn, fuck Long Island. And then the first places we go to is Long Island and Brooklyn.
I know that. As long as it's not the Bronx. I got family. My family's in the Bronx right now, though.
Yeah, like you know what? The Bronx started popping now in New York because just just
close to the city. You can get
close
right
to the city, and it hasn't got exploited like Brooklyn and the Queens and the Astorias. Man, I remember when I was a kid, Astoria, you could rent a 1-bedroom, $550. You get a 1-bedroom off of Steinway. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't getting none of that now. Nowhere.
Nah. But not at all. I mean, people used to talk about, Long Island City's popping. I'm like, I grew up, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, no, you don't want to go there. Now you want to go there.
Oh, dude, it's banging. I mean, it's close to it's close to the city. You know what I mean? Neighborhood-ish.
Now, yeah, and it's popping.
It's sunny as fuck, because not a lot of tall buildings, right? So it's sunny.
The same thing how Brooklyn turned into, right over, McGinnis and all that, that's used to be all the dope spots, all the weed spots, the crack spots. Now it's like you get the poke spots now.
Yo, dude, when Burn started, we moved into a house on 24 Power Street, right in Williamsburg. We had the whole house. It was like 3 stories for $1,200. It had a huge backyard.
Yeah. Oh, hell, backyard. That's a backyard. This is the thing that we always talk about. Like it came up, I'd be hearing it pop up on stuff like Gavin.
Okay.
You know what's the why I bring it up? That the weird connection why guys like us and like a guy like him, he hit a good location coming from the scene we did with the whole history, how some guys were squatting and blah, blah, blah. And
Gavin's killing it now.
Yeah, and these were in the neighborhoods nobody wanted to live in. But we ended up hanging out and some of us living in, and people built it up, stuck through it. And then now these are the popping spots. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy? And I'm not like a racial dude. I hate race-based politics. I hate all that shit. But the one thing that I'll say is that when you grow up in the country, I think maybe this is not even racial, more just like urban versus rural. When you grow up in the country, you're used to just walking into a forest and you don't know what the fuck you're going to encounter. That shit just turns you into a different human being than like being in a city and the water comes out of the faucet and the food's in the package and there's not really a lot to explore. Why are you gonna explore?
Yeah.
What's the purpose? You don't even build that muscle.
Yeah, no, and and it's crazy, and it's true you say that because I would always say that. I was like, yo, I'll go to any hood on the planet, but you put me in the forest by myself and watch me fucking bug the fuck out, straight up. Yeah, we recorded records. They put us out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, yo, it's almost dusk. I ain't going too deep. I'll be right around here.
Yo, it's a language, and I've said this before, and props to Gavin. It's a language that, and this dude came from that. There was one day we were doing graffiti, me, him, Fred Five, in Williamsburg, in this abandoned factory, right? We just got finished. We had our cans and bags, walking out, and then we just hear this somebody come in, right? So we look up, and we see the dude. He's got like 2 or 3 pit bulls with him. Dude releases the dogs on us. Gavin drops down, and like he just looks around. Gavin had his wild man on. He picked up a box spring. He just like picked it up. He was like maybe 6 inches off the ground. He holds the box and says, "Call off your fucking dogs." Dude said, "Here, boy." I was like, holy, that's like a muscle that you don't. Yeah. You gotta know that that's there. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's crazy, and it's crazy. It's funny, but like it's crazy, like how our lifestyle threw us in these neighborhoods. And led us to, back then was like a crazy lifestyle, but guys never left and stuck it out. And look at shit started, like you have situations like that. Look at the LES now.
LES is crazy.
Look at, whatever, if it's anywhere downtown, you name it. You remember how it was when we were kids? It was like,
it was a mess.
It was a mess. It was like junkyards,
and junkies.
Junkyard, junkie, dirt, just everything was broken. Bums selling dirty clothes on the street. Hey, kids out there, people would sell dirty clothes on the street.
That's true.
How crazy is that? But it was like a Mad Max land. But what I'm glad is, but it was also where all the music was, or the art was, or what the mainstream would call pieces of shit all ended up. Like I always say.
Let me ask you this real quick. Why do you think hardcore flourished in that environment?
You know what it is? It's like I tell you why, because it ended up where everything that wasn't wanted had to end up somewhere. So I always describe it as like the scene. If you want to throw in the whole punk part, but we're hardcore kids.
Absolutely.
We know the whole history. Me and you, we all know the history, the punk, blah, blah, blah. But like I say, we're the bottom of the septic tank where all the shit falls there. But we have our own thing, and it's made up of all these little pieces, good and bad, that fell into this little, because you remember when we were kids, this is a special thing that I try to tell, like, what I appreciate now.
Okay.
Being, especially for guys like me and you being minorities, being not white kids, but being around this, while we got thicker skins. Number one, because this was one thing I was going to get into, that me and you, a part of our lives was to the outside world. Our lives are based on something that's considered, that's white. That's a white people, 100%. A white kid thing. 100%. But we're not that, and they don't get it. They don't see there's more to it. But for us, there was 2 types of people, and I can speak for you on this subject because obviously you are a hardcore kid.
Correct.
When you're an ethnic kid and you came up in the hood in spots like we did, being Astoria Projects, Queensbridge, Queens,
absolutely.
Our schools are all black and Spanish. Yeah, you got white kids or whatever, but we could go 2 ways. When you're Spanish, and when you're black and Spanish, most likely you're going to be the hip hop way, the club way, or whatever. Freestyle, R&B, you're going to be that or whatever. And if you're listening to rock, they go, yo, you're doing that white boy shit. And
100%.
And then you could be 2 ways. We could either be like, don't like it, and be like, okay, and we change because we don't like being picked on,
that shit.
or do like what we did and say, yo, you niggas just don't know what's up.
Yeah, I mean, I just did my thing. I never gave a fuck, yo. Like, even just, as a fucking kid, like, my dad had thousands of records, and I would just go through, I would find records, and that helped me to kind of carve out my palette of shit I liked. Yeah. When I was going to high school, I went to Bryan High School, with Lordy's at, obviously, and I would roll in there. I had a navy green 3/4 length jacket, a bag from the Keith Haring pop-up shop, like a drawstring bag with like the Keith Haring characters on it. I had Patrick's, a soccer sneaker, and then Lotto. Remember the Lottos?
Yeah, of course. The Lottos, and you had the Velcros, those, just the Lotto.
Yeah. I always looked different.
Yeah.
And I just feel I'm just different. Like, I could get, obviously I want to like people. I want them to like me, right?
Yeah.
But at a certain point, what the fuck? Like, I don't give, like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, this is me right here.
Because that's how it was. Because I always say that because obviously there's a lot of ethnicities in our scene, but but also it's also less than a lot of other scenes. You know, we don't care because we don't look at it that way.
Explain that, unpack that.
You know what I mean? It's like even like when coming up, it was harder to find guys that we could relate to. If we did, like a guys like you would be like, okay, a Bad Brain guy. For me, it was a Roger Moret, but even Roger looked like a white guy. So not till I found out, I kind of, once I did, I was like, oh shit, okay, we are in this world too. Kind of,
right, absolutely.
You know, because you have to kind of relate to something sometimes. You know what I mean? You know, we relate on craziness with this music, the cohesiveness. You know, we like loyalty and we like brotherhood and sisterhood or whatever. That's a big part of this hardcore thing. Like, you know,
absolutely. All right, a
family outside the house. That's what we gravitate to. And then 100%. It breaks off into, you know, whatever. But it's a special thing, and especially for guys like us that lasted, and you know, again, like you know, the Rogers or whatever, because
much respect to Roger.
You know, you know, it's like I got to see it through many years. You know, this is my life, like it is yours and everything. And, you know, I bleed this shit. I want to die this shit. You know, that's New York hardcore shit. Just what it is. But for me, I like to dissect shit. And I see shit. I'm a Spanish kid from Corona, Queens. You know what I mean? We're not supposed to, me and you aren't supposed to be here.
Tell me what you see. You see shit. What do you see?
Like, no, it's just like one, I see that what I'm glad is that guys like you, guys like a Roger, guys like myself, and this is one of the few times, I didn't even on some cocky shit, but wow, we made moves being ethnic people and something that was not started by us, but we got in it and into the maybe early on we weren't supposed to be accepted in it, but we made it out and made that and became one of those bricks in that house. Absolutely. Undeniably.
Facts.
You know, or not even one single band, just all of us doing all our stuff and getting the more people in the band, the other ethnic, and now you know, now it's common. You know, everybody, you know, look at our crew, all our dudes, you know, Jewish guy, black guy, Dominican
everybody.
Guy. That was the special thing about New York, but not everywhere was like a New York or like
booyah.
And
we all experienced that when we traveled out of state in certain places where we came across certain heads that
yeah, exactly. and this is something going back to that kind of steered away from that. Oh, another point that what gave guys like us thicker skin, like forget politics. Without getting into politics, there's Nazis and then there's guys that have racist beliefs or whatever, but we know Nazis. We know dudes that rolled up with swastikas, write literature on white supremacy, and they'd hand it out at one of our shows coming up outside, and nobody did nothing at one point.
I remember those guys getting chased around later in life.
Later on, exactly, and I take pride in that too, being us, all our guys being, you know,
the people that did the chasing.
Thank you. I don't take credit for a lot. I try to live modest, but I take credit for that. Not just me personally, but a bunch of us, because again, we all come from an era where we also respected the G's, the older guys.
Absolutely.
And we also know there was some suspect shit, but the guys obviously that were around us weren't down with it, but we knew there was like having a racist uncle. We all have one, or like the one, you know. We knew who they were. We didn't mix with them, but we knew somehow they're connected to this thing of ours.
Right, absolutely.
It got to a point where we're standing there and visually we're like, okay, do we really gotta see a guy with a Nazi, with a swastika and a KKK guy, Zeke Heiling patch on his Levi's
jacket? Why are they
jacket?
still here? Yeah.
And then it was on. And then literally one day, I could even say this dude Brian Flagg.
I remember that day he got chased down St. Mark's.
Yeah. Good night. Thank you. Good night. That was the last time we were like, okay, you know what? There's too many of us. Too many. Why? Like we were kids that were becoming young men, and
wow, I specifically remember that instant. I remember
and that's
that.
it. And that literally is it, because we know these guys because they were allowed back then. But it was because it was a weird time. But that also gave guys like us, you know, we don't use buzzwords, you know, to like a lot of people, you know, we have a special thing coming from this world where we had to have a thicker skin.
Absolutely.
Kind of. And,
you know what's crazy though, real quick on the Nazi thing. I mean, and I don't know, like I'm not gonna speak for anybody, but I feel like a lot of those kids, like there's like kind of the same way some cats get into graffiti or something else. I think some of those white kids got into that because it was like counterculture. I don't even think a lot of them were racist, right?
Absolutely, yeah. You know that, of course. All the Italian kids in Brooklyn. You know what? You grow up with all Italian kids.
It's tribalism.
They're gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's just you know, if we're all skating, what happens? We all become skateboarders.
Exactly.
It's just, and I agree. Not all of those, you know, and even it's harder to be in our world, which is an outlaw culture, and be fucking racist. The whole thing is the outlaw. You're supposed to be everything that's not. I'm not white. I'm not this. You know, I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not one way. I'm everything else. You know, we're everything else. This is what people.
I think it's a broader mindset that I think accompanies to the kind of outlaw, to kind of borrow your word here.
Yeah.
It's broader mindset, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you coming up and all right, we know, you know, a lot of people, you know, everybody kind of has a little brief knowledge of all of us with Queens guys. We know.
Yeah.
But like coming up in a store, you came up in Astoria, you know, and this is funny because I know you originally. We were in the music together, but through skateboarding.
Yeah. Zoner. Were you a zoner?
Listen, Team Stage Dive. I remember.
Yo.
Listen, what you know about Team Stage Dive, okay? I'm gonna let everybody know. Everybody, just because my body's not very aerodynamic looking, at one point I was a street skater, okay? And Team Zone and Team Stage Dive, they were like rivals, like kind of rival Queens graffiti. I mean, skateboarding rivals.
But I mean, there were some writers that came out as, you know, Free Slide was Team Stage Dive. I was obviously Team Stage Dive. Not that I was some big writer. I was probably an up writer in my career.
But you're right. Okay, yeah. Because so this is funny. Well, I skated and then hooking up with them. You see, those were, you know, me and Double O, my brother, rest in peace.
Absolutely.
Obviously, he used to skate with them. And Pete,
great.
Yeah, and Pete, Beachy, my brother, and all those guys. What happened was we were already into hardcore, and we were already kind of getting into the music and hanging out part, me and Double O. So we kind of stopped skating, and we would like watch them skate, and then we got into Demise started, blah, 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 and all that.
Yeah, I went to 145, I think twice, maybe.
I remember you guys popping up, I remember.
A couple of times.
Quinn, and so okay, so let me ask you this. So hardcore skating, what came first for you?
You know, skating. Wait. No, hardcore.
Oh, okay.
Sasha Jenkins got me into skating.
Yeah, so Sasha, you coming up? So Sasha's the guy who put you on. He's the guy that
skating. I put him onto hardcore. He put me onto skating.
Oh, okay. You put him in. Okay. Oh, so he the skating or the hardcore.
Yeah, he was the skating. We met in high school.
All right. So he was. You guys were Bryan guys.
Bryan High School.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We had beef for you guys in basketball, Newtown.
Dude, all high schools had this like either real or fake beef back then.
Yeah. No, of course, you know that. But it was but it was basketball because Ezek always has his. I could have been in the NBA. Fantasy.
I remember on the football team. I don't remember the basketball team though.
No, Ezek played ball. He was a good basketball player.
Really? I know
I would listen. I will never say this again, so I might edit this part out. But yo, Ezek was a good ball player. He really was.
Really?
Yeah. He
I
had the
remember
look. He
that.
could have been big. He looked mulatto. He got that weird red head. You don't know if he's black, white. He could have been big. He went up for a layup one day, rolled his ankle. It was a wrap.
Are you serious?
Something happened. No, it wasn't a layup. I'm gassing that part up. He was jumping down a flight of stairs or something. Fucked his ankle though, and it was a wrap.
Yeah, I remember him being on the football team and wrestling. I remember our gym, one of our gym teachers, Mr. Dryer, was security for Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh shit.
He was always trying to get Chaka, join the wrestling team. Come on, join the wrestling team. Join the wrestling team. I was like,
yeah. They tried to get me that because I was a big kid, but I said I can't wear those weird spandex tights. Fuck that.
And make that hug the balls up, bring your balls up to your neighbor.
Yeah, I was like, nah, I ain't down with no spandex, man. I was like, at the time it was Let's Get Physical was out. I was like, nah, I can't do that.
Yo, see, now the question is Xanadu or what's the better Olivia Newton-John song? Xanadu?
Okay, no, but that's more like, that's like gets more like sonic, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
That was more like you got to be deep into her to understand that,
I just wanted to say Xanadu.
Yeah, I know, but you got to be. That's like her Art Deco era, whatever. I don't even know what you would call it.
But not. I feel it was a bit more, but it was still pop though. I think it was a soundtrack. Yeah,
but it was like
that may have something to do with it.
That was like you had it. That was like real. It was like her being real, like art.
She was hot, yo.
I loved her. I watch her in Grease. She's banging.
I fuck with Grease. You ever fuck with The Wiz?
Yeah, but you know what? Look, because I love Michael Jackson, despite whatever his history. I don't know, whatever. Okay, Jackson 5 guy, whatever. But that shit always bugged me out. The Wiz too much. Because
it scared me. I think as a kid,
That's what I mean. It was weird. It was like too like Ronald McDonald. It reminded me of and that dude creeped me out too.
It's like even creepier than CGI in a certain way.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. So. All right, Brian. So it's kind of simultaneously too, right? Like the hardcore skate thing.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it was within a year. I mean, I got into hardcore. Yeah, I mean, it was like maybe within a few months. It was kind of serendipitous, I guess.
First show, you remember your first show? Where and when? And who?
I'm pretty sure because Bobby Stegerwald from the New York Hoods was in my class. His sister was in my class. He went to our school. Me and him. I had another class with Bobby. And so it was the New York Hoods, Trip 6, and Underdog. And I'm pretty sure that was my first show.
Wow, that's a classic one. What you remember? What year?
It's 87 maybe.
86. Yeah, I my first show 88. I came in right after. Yeah, that was like, to me personally, those were the best years of hardcore.
Oh my god,
those like we're gonna get into that. Like we literally were spoiled. Like
oh my god,
unbelievably fucking spoiled. But fucking but real quick before we get into that, let's go because we're talking about the skating because there's a couple things because a lot of skaters, I got a lot of love for skaters. It's I don't talk about it a lot, but we got a lot of history in Queens too,
big time street skating.
And being a skater, and you were more of a skater than I was. I skated to get around and we were hanging, but you were like you skated more harder
doing tricks
yeah. The pyramids in Astoria.
Hard to skate. Oh my god.
Yeah. But a staple in skating and in New York hardcore.
100%.
That definitely is like one of the seven wonders of
the skateboard world.
Yeah, the skateboard hardcore connect is there. I remember them, the connection, and then later on the Brooklyn Banks.
The Banks, yeah. And the Brooklyn Banks got real hip hop real quick though, because it was just like the right time for it, right?
Yeah, you remember NYC Skates?
100%.
Yeah, I just like throwing out this so niggas know I knew what time it was.
Oh, absolutely.
And back then,
oh my god, did you ever go to? There was a dude that used to sell skate shit out of his apartment in the projects right by the Banks.
No, but that's ill. I didn't even hear that.
He was an old white gentleman. He had like whitish hair. Like he wasn't creepy or anything.
I don't know. That's hard. I didn't.
Yeah, I remember like going to his house and buying like boards and wheels and
when I was a kid, the only places to get it like pieces to build it was there and Pentagon. You remember the sport?
Paragon or
Paragon?
Paragon. Yeah.
The sporting goods store, but they were the only places at the time. NYC Skates, and it was shut. You remember Team Shut?
100%.
They were New York City.
Classic.
Yeah,
classic.
And I remember that era because I loved the code, the whole thing about it. But we were writing, and I was around again, all my boys, and then ended up being all of the Supreme guys, my boy Giovanni, Salami.
Gio was team stage dive.
Yeah, exactly. You know, fucking all those dudes, you know, like, and Gio, that's my boy since I'm in high school, you know. Like,
I haven't you talking, where's he at?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in forever.
Wow.
I know, like, that's just crazy. I would see
He was
him.
cool as fuck, dude. Or say he is cool as fuck where he's at.
Yeah. And like, again, later on in life, the connection, you know, like, you know, fast forward, you know, we got bands. I'm going to Roadrunner downtown and the Supreme store. Who's the Supreme other fellas? Yo, what up? Yo, I would walk out of there, Chaka. I wish, I'm an idiot. I would walk out of there, I couldn't even carry shit. Skateboard, Supreme, I didn't know what to do with it. If I kept it now, I would be rich.
Yeah.
I'd be rich.
100%.
Unbelievable, like, you know, crazy. But yeah, the pyramids, you know, the crazy, you know, did you fuck around out there a lot? Did you
Absolutely. That's why they were really hard to skate. So you had to earn every trick in the pyramids. I mean, if you had hard wheels, you were done.
Yeah.
As soft wheels as possible. But yeah, that spot was really hard to skate.
Yeah, and then later on, the Brooklyn Banks and all that shit. That shit's a big memory. Fucking Astoria, man, had that. What do you think about, what is it about Queens that you think, why so many kids, you know, I think a lot of people ask this question, but what is it about Queens? Why Queens that,
you know what, I think I have an answer.
So many guys.
I think because I think there's a few pieces. One, it's proximity to the city, right? But they're not being in the city, right? I think I have a lot of friends from the city, and they're not as. Actually, I would take that back. I don't want to categorize nobody, but I think when you're like, growing up in Queens, like you have access because you're still a neighborhood person, right? And you're still getting all the music, you're still getting all the neighborhood shit, but you're close enough to the city to have some aspirational shit with it, right? So you almost kind of have both. You have the space to kind of be a kid and wild out because you're growing up in the city. Like, I mean, where are you gonna go?
You're right. Yeah.
Where are you gonna go? The sidewalk?
For sure.
You know, like growing up in in my projects, we had projects. There's people hanging out all the time. There's music all the time. There's different age groups that you kind of watch and see what the fuck are they doing? Like, what are they up to? Like, oh shit, that must be the new music. I had this older sisters that had boyfriends. I remember one of them brought back a white label of a jam in Brownsville from this was before I got into hardcore. This was like 84.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, we were just able to really ingest a lot of this culture, right? Yeah. And had the space to do that. And I think that we were able to go to the city, and then we were in the city, like, oh shit, we're in the city, let's do something, right?
Yeah.
Let's manifest.
Yeah, right? It's true. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, it makes sense because I could see it as like, it's hard to describe, but yeah, like I totally get it. Like, we were able to
see it from afar.
Yeah, we could kind of bring everything in from where we live, and then pinpointed it in downtown Manhattan. And
once we got downtown, that was like the final bit of salt or boiling water that we Queens of guys, I think, needed to say, okay, yeah, let's do something. Let's manifest bands, let's manifest clothing, whatever it is.
Yeah, because what always bugged me out about it was, obviously we know Queens, and Queens you have from projects to like real suburban kind of neighborhoods, and we have every demographics or whatever. But it's funny when people look at hardcore and comes from the punk rock, you automatically think a squat in downtown Manhattan. You know what I mean? When it's like, yeah, that is definitely a part of it, but just as big was the suburban or more neighborhood borough life of Queens, which
100%.
So
that was it. I mean, I think we gave it a new infusion. I think we helped to take it to. I think we helped to make the hardcore kind of. You know what I mean? Think about it. Sick of It Always bands like
flavor. We brought flavor, and I mean, Queens in general brought that. And again, not that these old, respect to those old bands or whatever, they brought like if we were a robot, like they brought that. They have the heart and the thing. Now the boroughs brought joints. Now we could move. We brought muscles, and we're moving. Now we're able to walk.
Facts. We brought the programming for the robot. What's it gonna do?
Exactly. And that's how I always took it. Like, you needed those components, but it's so weird how it worked.
I grew up listening to those. I grew up listening to fucking Oi in my bedroom, B.
Exactly.
Projects.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, and to me, that's same thing with me. Like I was hardcore skin. I had DMs, a flight, bald head, and then and at the same time, on Geraldo Rivera, they got every skin as being a white power guy, and I got everybody in my school looking at me like,
"Are you racist against
yourself? How could you be a white power guy? You're Spanish." I go, I used to be like, you just don't know what time it is. Like I'm not even explain, but they all knew me. They're like, "Hoy, yo," like, but you ain't, and I'm like, because they're not. You know what I mean? Like, is because you don't know. You're looking at TV, and I'm like, and if that's what I loved about being a hardcore kid. Especially then, it felt like a superpower, like X-Men. I look at you. You had a hardcore shirt. We were like showing your X-Men ring.
And this is a big fucking deal, Hoya. I'm glad that you touched on this, right? Because we're talking about right now. We're talking about identity, self-understanding, and then the willingness to be who the fuck you are, right? And I think today, like we have like social media, right? And everybody, wants to conform and get their views and do all this thing when they post these memes, right? And I think this is my theory on the memes, right? So let's say I'm a Democrat. Let's say I love candidate A, Democrat, right? So I may agree with 50% of what the candidate says, but then some meme maker puts out some meme that takes that candidate and amplifies his views to the nth power, even though I only agree with 50% of the candidate, since I don't feel strong enough to say, hey, my name is, whatever it is, and I have a voice, and this is what I think about this candidate. I post the meme that takes my view and amplifies it beyond what I really believe in. So now I'm amplifying some bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to take the time and say, hey, guys, this is a complex subject here, but these are my thoughts on it. I agree with this candidate here. I disagree here. But instead, I just post a meme that says anybody that disagrees with my candidate sucks, is a dumb or is an asshole or whatever. And that ruins communication. I mean, hardcore for me said, like, when I was walking around in school with like my hardcore shirts, my green jacket, and my bag, like, I wasn't looking around, Yeah. There's a guy named Grant Cardone. Like I do sales here today. And he talks about how, he's joking. He says, he's like, I ranked the rear view mirror out of my car. He's like, I don't want to see what's behind me. I want to see what's in front of me.
That's a good one. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's hardcore. That's that Queens thing. It's like, okay, what can we do with this? What can I do with me? What can I do with my art? What can I do with my crew of friends?
And I agree. I would always say that about hardcore. I go like, we all know that. I said, we all know again, the whole background, the whole where this music comes from or whatever. But I was like, we had the anger from punk, but punk was let's destroy. Hardcore was like, destroy. No, we got to rebuild. How we're gonna rebuild? That's what the difference with a hardcore.
Just real quick, I explained to a friend of mine, like a grown ass friend of mine, not that I'm not grown. We were talking about punk, and I said, well, I'm talking about like aggressive music. He's like, well, what's the difference between hardcore and punk? I said, well, in one way, you could look at punk as being self-destructive and hardcore as potentially being constructive and self-uplifting, right? Because all punk people, what's the punk icon? Sid Vicious, right?
Yeah.
Dies early.
Yeah.
All the punk icons are dead.
Yeah.
But the hardcore icons, Minor Threat, Bad Brains, Rod, Gnostic Front, you guys. People are here. People are trying to be positive. They're doing podcasts. They're doing things. They're putting out books.
Yeah.
Right. Where a lot of the punk guys, we lost a lot of those guys because it was just inherently such a self-destructive culture. And I love punk music.
Exactly. And it's a part of our it's our DNA. If we like it or not, I was never a punk guy. But who doesn't know that that's not part of my DNA?
Right.
Of course. Being our era, we're also historians. We that's the great part of our era. We were automatic historians. That was part of what we loved, was digging backwards.
Ooh, getting that vinyl and my God.
Just discovering old or new. Now it ain't like that. Now, but we come from that era. So we know. Right. So it's like, no, we needed to make a hardcore kid. You needed that anger, but say, okay, instead of just burning down, how about we rebuild? You pointed out there's a problem. That's what punk was. Okay, but instead of like just now nobody has it.
Feel me right now. All right, so and this is big. I'm really thankful we're having this conversation. I love you, by the way. So check it out. So you think about the punk rockers that are in the LES, right? And when they're going through life, like, what support system do they have? They don't have it.
They don't.
But you think about us, right?
Oh yeah.
We had a support system. We had our parents.
Yeah.
We weren't orphans necessarily, where a lot of the punk rockers were orphans culturally just because they weren't around their parents. We still, and I think that's what lifted our music out of being so self-destructive, because we had, I see you post about your family, how much.
Absolutely. And I never thought about it like that. I'm a big family guy, But yeah, because I can speak for myself. I know I was one of the lucky guys, and you too, from hearing about you and your family. We had our families in our lives. Like a lot of our boys didn't.
Did not.
All our boys, our girls, or whatever, they didn't have. And I could totally see that when you come from that a family, like, hey, we have a chance. They're there to give you hope and a chance. And that's what hardcore does. When you look at it there, it gives you the support, like, you know what I mean? I guess what it is, but I never thought about it like the bulk of a lot of us are more family oriented than maybe the other people. Not that the punk kids or whatever.
They have family. I think a lot of them, that's culture. They were so self-destructive and outside of their unit.
Yeah.
Because no future. That was the slogan, right? Yeah. No future.
Yeah.
For hardcore, the slogan is PMA. Even if that's not part of how everybody looks. I mean, even for you, I don't think you run around saying be PMA, but what do you say? Yo, AM, time to grind.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. No, amped up. You got to make things happen. Exactly. And I always took pride in, like, I knew that as a kid. When I was again, was like you could be pro or against. And I don't mean that. And when it's some other political thing, but I meant it in just in my life. I could either go for it or just shit on everything. And then I got into progression. You don't grow. You got to try to grow. You know what I mean? And again, that's being a hardcore kid. We lucked out. We found what we found.
Absolutely, and I needed hardcore. Hardcore fucking hooked me the fuck up, dude.
Yeah, and fucking So okay, we're going to shows. You're skateboarding. You go to your first show. How the fuck you meet Gavin? Where do you meet the fucking?
Gavin was in the hood.
The man of stone.
Say again?
The man of stone, the fucking Dutch Mexican head. I know his whole shit. What up, Gavin? I gotta get him. Me and him. We're gonna have this, but we gotta get bigger headspace for me and him on this thing. We're gonna have a heptasode. But how you met Gavin? Because Gavin, another OG,
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially
for Gavin. I'm trying to think of how. I know Gavin was in the hoods when I went to see them.
Oh, okay. So,
but I'm not sure that's how. I don't even. Maybe through. I think somebody said maybe through skating. I don't even know because Gavin skated a bit too.
Yeah. Kind of everybody in that time were like had a little bit of a skater band, kind of.
Yeah. And Gavin was in a lot of fucking bands too, dude.
Yeah, like and it's crazy. So you're hanging out with Gavin, all right? And obviously, I know like a lot of guys, I don't know your exact story, but like a lot of us going to shows, just being able to be, seeing bands, having friends in bands, and then kind of seeing that anybody could kind of start a band. Is that why you decided to be in a band?
Yeah, I will tell you right now. Like, so I was going to shows, and I used to love to dance, right? Dance hard, dance while out.
Yeah, you just be fucking jumping on everybody. You know how many times you had your fucking sneaker, your Ewing or some shit in my fucking face?
Ewing. Ewing's out of my fucking face. So like, and I used to love to dance, right? I was like the ultimate Absolution fan. I loved Absolution. I would dance hard for all their shows. Love
Absolution too.
Then Absolution broke up, and I think I was just on. I happened to be on the bench, right? And they just, all right, kid, you're up.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. Like Gavin was like, all right, let's do a band. I'm gonna get you a band. So then like we recruited John Crichton, I think initially, and me and Alex Napak, who was a wonderful bass player.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just kind of like time, and Gavin, I think, needed a new band, and I was kind of visible. We were friends a little bit.
And like, why not, right? But before that, you never thought about being in a band till they asked you?
I don't even know.
Yeah, no, it's weird, right? Back then, it was like a thing, right? Like,
I didn't think I had to do it. Me and Freddie had already did the compilation. I was already dancing. I already was like myself. Like I felt comfortable within me. Like, so I don't know that I was aspiring. I was making hip hop music at the time in my house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't
like, fuck it. Yeah, like just something to do. Because, and then, okay, so then you're like, all right, Gavin, you start jumping, you say, okay, fuck it, boom, you're going to start jamming.
Yep.
How far into jamming before you come up with the name Burn? And
I don't even know.
come up with the
I think Alex came up with that name.
Okay, and where does that come from? I always wondered where the name came from, and I heard you say it on one of these things, and I forgot.
Alex, I don't. I think Alex made that shit up. You know,
great name.
I love the name. I love the name. And Tim Boiling Point, I'm pretty sure made that logo, which is one of the best logos.
Yeah, and the name was just great because it could have been anything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and then like you know what I mean, and it was the right type of band that had that newer style. You know, again, talking about Gavin. You know, I bring up Gavin with you because there's certain teams like if it's the Roger, Vinny. You know, the me and the Frank, the Gavin.
Duo.
The duos, the dynamic duos of this hardcore shit. But I always think of that because those are big components. You know, your whole thing and his whole style.
100%.
And that's what I loved about Gavin. He always had a real ill style that I never understood, and only he could make work.
I agree with that. I think a lot of people tried to bite Gavin. I think some more successfully than others, but Gavin is definitely his own type of player. So he has wonderful influences that range from way outside of hardcore. I mean, like even though like I love hardcore, we never listened to hardcore together. I can't think of a time when Gavin and I listened to hardcore together.
Yeah, so
listen to Sade, country music, hip hop, everything.
Yeah, I just said everything but hardcore. I know how.
Kind of. I mean, you too, probably, right? I mean,
exactly.
But by the time you're in a band and you're like when you're with your guys on tour, you know you're gonna be in a band for 5 hours. You're gonna have 5 bands. Like you don't listen to hardcore.
Oh yeah, and I think you hear Annie Lennox, you hear all types of shit.
Oh, exactly. Oh,
yeah, we have all types of shit coming out of her. Fuck.
That makes you, when you said Annie Lennox, I just thought about myself like lying back on one of these seats in a 15-passenger van, with my head on my book bag or whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Somebody saying, "Yo, I gotta piss."
Exactly. Like you hand him a Snapple bottle.
Yeah. Right. It's like, but yeah. So no, but all right. You guys are you start jamming with Gavin. You start. You got the thing. Because, besides playing a couple of shows with my band and your band, I probably saw all the Burn shows you did in New York area at that time because you guys you started popping off and getting like all those dope shows.
You're getting some good shows
great shows.
Sick of It All. I mean, Sick of It All. We owe Sick of It All so much. You know what I mean? And once again, Queen's Connection. I was at Queen's Cinema Mall one day with my mother and my little brother. And Lou and Pete, and I think they were with a couple of people. They walked by. I said, "Sick of It All." And they came over and they said, "What's up?" to me, right? And my mother was like, "Who is that?" I was like, "Mom, that's Sick of It All."
Yeah, it's clobbering time. Yeah, right. Yeah, that is dope.
Yeah, I think Lou had the cane that day. I think he used to walk with a cane. Remember? Not walk around with a cane.
Yeah. That's funny.
Those are crazy days, bro. Wow.
Yeah, and fucking, but how long jamming before you guys are playing shows, you think?
I think honestly pretty quick. I mean, we had our first show. We played like 3 songs.
Yeah.
And I think Gavin pretty much had like 1.5 of them kind of done.
Yeah.
Gavin's one of these people that he has all these riffs and he can kind of like swap out riffs. Like the song The Bait is Revealing the Prey from Absolution. I think, wait, is that it? Or is it not The Bait? There's no, we use Revealing the Prey. I mean, Gavin uses his riffs in a modular fashion, which I think is great because he writes great riffs. And I know sometimes with me, think about even yourself, like you have a bunch of riffs and you put like a riff on a record and the record maybe does great, but then you're like, oh shit, like that kind of riff, that idea would be great for this. And you're like, well, they already did it 10 years ago. 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Let me just repurpose it a little bit. So Gavin's great at that. And that's why I think Gavin's an iconic guitar player for us.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. He has a fucking great style. That's what I think made Burn stand out. And it was, again, it was that right time when I guess you guys weren't like a post band, like let's say Into Another.
Right.
You were like the harder, like right before that, you click on, okay, these are still the hardcore guys still trying to be hardcore. Now these are the hardcore guys trying
singing a little bit, being a little more. I think that was more Orange. Orange 9 was more the kind of post.
Exactly. So when you're at, let me ask you, so before Orange 9, so you got right now, you're popping over Burn, and one of the best Burn show. Now I don't want to say best, but that most memorable for me was the Boogie Down production show. So I don't know.
Oh, dude. How you riot that day in the pit? Remember that?
Yeah, of course. I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. No,
Yes,
I
you
was
were.
there. Yeah, I was there. It was a great show.
Dude, that was incredible.
Yeah, it was the style. Again, it was a stylish show. It was a dope thing. The whole concept.
Stage dives. I mean, the whole thing was a lot of space. The music, everybody was dope culturally.
Yes, exactly. The location, everybody was cool. Even, all the KRS people came out. I remember Heather B coming out freestyle, killing it, and it was like dope and how it fell in with the bands. And
that was Rory. Shouts to Rory Kremlin.
You want to know something? I actually think I got that because it was the Amnesty.
Yeah, that's Rory.
I had that flyer somewhere, like a little flyer from that somewhere here. From that show, because I was like,
she put on a lot of great shows, and she really helped the culture. She was early on, but she's still friends with those KRS people to this day. The Boogie Down.
Okay, yeah, that was a dope and it's classic. That don't happen. That still rarely happens.
And it happens now into the guise of Warped Tour.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? But back then, when it was still like a dark club, where like dudes like, oh shit, they fighting, and like a riot breaks out.
Yeah,
it was so nascent. No one really knew what the fuck is this shit.
And what made it dope was the connection with KRS being on early Sick of It All album, and KRS is a real motherfucker. Like, it wasn't like some candy at the moment rapper who was out and just happened to be like, oh, this is something cool.
Whose label got him on the tour?
No, a legend. You had a fucking we had a legend playing a hardcore show. I was proud. I'm like,
I mean, that was incredible, and that venue was so good.
Right, I know, man. I meant those upscale venues, for that. So fuck it. What you think was you got to do any bigger tours with Burn, or did you get to?
Burn never really did a lot of touring. You know what I mean? We did very little touring. I mean, like, we did a lot of great shows, like runs with Swizz, us and Swizz, and. We did we do some? That was so long ago. Like, Burn didn't really do a fuck ton of traveling.
Just kind of did, yeah. And then
we did do a lot of traveling.
When Burn before, all right. Right after Burn, you did the Orange 9, correct?
Right.
So all right, at the end of Burn, what was happening? Was it slowing down? Did you say, we're gonna dead it? Because I never took it as you guys ever quit. I just saw it.
I mean, me and Gavin just say, I don't know. I mean, hopefully, all these duos, right? They're duos for a reason, and people rely on each other in the same way any relationship. Motherfuckers annoy each other.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, like, at the point, like, not only were me and Gavin annoyed at each other, but we also couldn't keep a drummer. It was possible to find a fucking drummer in the city at that time. We didn't have Instagram, right, where you could just fucking, who wants to move to New York and play in a hardcore band, right? They didn't have that, right?
Yeah, I know.
We just had exhausted all these drummers, and we just kind of slowly backed away from the ledge. There wasn't really any hatred or anything like that. There was a lot. I think there was a little bit of negative energy, but that's all well.
Yeah, it happens. You have to, we're humans. If you don't have that, you don't really know each other. You know what I mean? Because nobody's identical.
Right.
So I always tell people, I was like, if everything is too perfect, that's when you should be scared.
CasaDeRock.com, home of that fly DIY. You want to support the show? Go cop some merch right now. We got a lot of new t-shirts, shorts, and caps available. Everything is made in-house by your boy on the spot. So show some love, support the movement. CasaDeRock.com is the spot.
But yeah, so the end of Burn, you guys talk. All right, you're winding on. You and Gavin are gonna kill each other. You're gonna say it nice. I know. No, I know you mean. Basically, things just got. I know what it is. Just things. Time took. I heard this thing once where somebody says you lose a friend every 7 years because around after that much.
Well, that makes sense.
I get it. Yeah, when somebody said that, I can see that. Like, that's where everything about somebody, and then you're moving on to another chapter in life if you want to carry baggage or not.
And there's also a science behind that to the physical body, because your physical body, like your every cell supposedly is brand new after 7 years. I think there's
I didn't know that. So
yeah, I mean, there's a life cycle.
You see, I'm smart. Smart.
You are smart.
But I heard that and it made sense, because when I start thinking about people that along the way that were like, yo, this is my everyday, And then they're not you every day. You kind of look, it's like you start seeing that after a 5 year, then it becomes okay. You know, somebody
100% correct.
You know, it's pretty crazy. So, and then, all right, were you done with music in your head right after Burn? Like right after that? Like, or you were like,
no, because
like,
yeah, I'll tell you real because I think the writing was on the wall, like that we were pretty much done. And me and Burn had played a show in Connecticut. And that was a show where I had the hatchet. I wish people had more pictures where I bought this hatchet. And I was like swinging around this hatchet in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Boston, 6 shows. And fucking Chris Trainer from Fountainhead at the time, later became an Orange 9. He was at the show, so I was like, yo, like, you guys should talk. So we ended up talking. And like pretty much right after that, me and Chris started meeting up and like writing. So like we had started Orange 9 like right when Burn broke up.
Right after.
And I think Gavin had Pride pretty much in the same time frame. And I think in that sense, it was a really healthy kind of segue, right? It wasn't like somebody was sitting there like, what am I gonna do now? You know,
nobody the right time. Yeah.
Nobody felt stuck, or nobody felt, artistically, strangled or cut off from the flow line, because we all had next things, right, that were more unique to even our personality.
Yeah, and let me ask you, all right, so you started this new band. What was your idea of what this band was gonna sound like? What was your...
We talked about that shit because, and this is crazy. I've been let me tell you, I'm collaborating with a friend, Greg of mine. I want to share something with you. This also relates to the mental. But so me and Chris, like, we were standing in front of, I think maybe his old building. And I was like, we were just trying to think about, okay, like, so we want to do this thing and we want to do it now, right? So like, how can we do that? How can we make that happen? So we were like, all right, like, let's take, what 3 bands do we want to use as our guidelines, right? So we had Tribe Called Quest, Smashing Pumpkins, and Screaming Trees, right? And not that we sound anything like that, but it just created a playpen for us to get shit done in. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, and I totally know what you mean, because I do the same, and that's why I asked the question. And you wanted to be honest with you, you're one of the few people that answered the question. Straight up, because I tell people that, and it becomes something like, and that's exactly, because I know I've been in bands, and I know some people feel like I'm accusing them of stealing music or something. I don't know what they think sometimes, when I'm like, no, you sit and you kind of ballpark exactly like, what are vibes I would like to tap into.
And that's what it is. We don't sound like, but it's a vibe. It just gives you a place to go.
Exactly. Like, exactly. Like it's hard to explain, but I know that's what we do. And it's funny when I ask bands that, they always kind of get around it, or they kind of sway away from it or take it the wrong way sometimes. And I'm like, no, it's influence. Like, I get it, because that's what you do. It ain't being fake. It ain't like being like,
it's not even biting. Like, honestly, I hate cover songs.
No, yeah. And it's like coming up with the name of a band is the same way you think of things. It sounds cool. It looks cool. Right. That's why you pick it.
Exactly.
It's not always the deepest thing. How does it look on a shirt? That's how you should pick it.
Honestly, and also I've been having this discussion with a friend of mine that I'm collaborating with, like, thinking about like what is the band name supposed to satisfy for a person's mind, feeling, and emotions. When you hear Madball, like, that gives me a lot of information to work with, right? When you hear Burn, it gives me a different kind of, it's like, okay, well, this band sounds like they might be on some existential shit, but it's probably heavy, and you know what I mean? Like, so it's Smashing Pumpkins. Okay, well, this sounds like it's maybe a bit arty, but a bit whimsical, because a pumpkin can't get your back, so this guy's obviously not huge. You know what I mean? Like, it gives you some energy to toy with, And
it's funny because I'm the anti everything of these guys, of the typical musician, because I'll tell you, because I got influences that I pick up, and in the same way, like what we talk about, I pick up vibes and I influence them. I'm not taking risks, but like you say, and like, for instance, a funny story, there was Entombed has this one track, Wolverine Blues. It's just a badass breakdown. It's some halftime breakdown shit. You hear it, you would go off in your room right now. I guarantee you. Well, anyway, I love Entombed, but I'm not at home blasting Entombed. I never did. But I appreciate them. And I love it. And that one track, I was like, yo, I gotta come up with some shit like that, and I came up with a riff and blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's not. You're not biting. You're resonating.
But
So,
but long story short, Mitch, who played with us, is friends with those guys, and we played some festival in Europe. And right away, we played some fest, and I woke up to Homeboy and I go, "Yo, that riff is dope. Yo, I bet your shit mad times." I literally told him, "Yo, I robbed that riff and I robbed another one." But I was joking. I didn't really rob it. I was just like, I took that vibe and I worked with it. He kind of looked at me like I was crazy, and I'm like, "No," I was like, "Yo, I took that vibe and I took it for this song and that song." Because I was more like, yo, salute. Because to me, it's like it's like you cook something that I find tasty.
You want to know what's inside of it.
Yeah, I like it. I want to tell you, good job.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like nobody else.
And then you also want to think, how can I make this at home?
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, I'll be like, I'm going to take this, but I'm going to add what I like. Exactly. And that's what we do. But, and that's good. And then, so you took those bands and you started mixing those vibes, and
I think we never brought it up. We never brought it up after that day.
Yeah, that's great. That's good. That's good. And then you just, all right. And let me ask, okay, your Orange 9 is playing. You're jamming out, right? You're starting to jam. How long you do a couple shows? How long before you start seeing label interest? Because that shit seemed like to me it popped off pretty quick. Also,
yeah, it did. I mean, the label we got thinking about this is crazy. We were getting signed. Labels were trying to sign us right when the EP came out, and we had done maybe it was probably it may have been like maybe like 3 months. I think I'm trying to think of how long. It may have been. I think we got signed within 3 months. It was quick.
Bastards.
Well, yeah, like 3 months.
Jealous.
But I think honestly, I think that we made a lot of mistakes by signing that early.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to share this. I think that the mistakes and I mentioned this a long time ago. One of the mistakes that you make is when something happens. So I think too early, we were like, okay, well, we didn't know what part, because the way the label machine works is that it's the label, and then their brother who is a booking agent, and their other brother who does this, and their other, group member that does that, right? In their overall structure of friends. And if you don't give them full access to that, if you pull out one of their friends, then you're not going to have success. You know what I mean? And so instead of us being like, okay, like we're hardcore, but like we're stepping into this world, okay, you know what? Just do it. Have all your brothers run this shit.
Gotcha.
We didn't do that. We didn't do that. Gotcha. And our manager told, he's like, I can't get you on the tour if we don't have this role. I can't get you that spot on the show if we not. But we were like, we're hardcore.
Yeah. In all fairness, it's a tough time. And can I ask you this? Was like, obviously, did you catch any of the era where there was, these major labels were throwing a little bit of money around?
Yeah, we got signed for a good amount of money.
Good. Because that's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to paint this, not to tell people what you made, but people got to understand this. These decisions get made because this was at a time you're also in a band and you're getting offers that we never got.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean,
people in our world,
several hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was a lot. It was a lot of money. But I think, and most of that money ended up getting spent making the record. So like, there was very little net to us of that, sadly.
Exactly.
And I think that's another part of the scam, right? We're going to sign you for X amount of money, but my cousin's going to make the record and he's going to charge you, 6/10 of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So yeah, it's a hustle. It's a hustle. For me, I was like, I just remember being like, yo, this motherfucker's doing it. I just remember because I started seeing, you see MTV play. And then
we're getting some shit.
Big budget video, and they're like, oh shit, yo, they got a stylist on that shoot. Like,
Absolutely.
I was like, yo, they got cameras on that fucking one.
It sounds like a rap lyric. All my video shoots got stylists.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I was like, no, but I remember Maddie Henderson always used to bump that one track. I forgot what it's called, but
Failure or something.
Down. And it had that one part.
Right.
Maddie Henderson shot.
Nice. Shout out to Maddie Henderson. Shout out. Those are fun times, fun shows. You know what I mean? I'm rocking. We did. Jordan put out. I don't know if you can even really see this shit, but Jordan put out the Orange 9 EP reissue. He made these shirts, and I just happen to have it on today. But
That's dope. And then so what
our record Tragic, they did like a reissue that's almost out. People want to grab it. This company in Europe called 30 something Records is doing it. It's pretty much sold out, but I think you can still find a few.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. And so you guys came out. So was that first major label you guys were on, or you ever were on?
100%.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think for Chris too, we were. I mean, we weren't that young. You know, we're probably 25. I was 25, I guess.
That's young, man. That's a kid. That's still a kid. You know.
Yeah, Chris was younger, probably maybe 21 or something like that.
I'm thinking about that now. I was like, oh, forget it. What I was doing then, I was doing. My 12-year-old is freaking more mature than I was when I was 25.
Different time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Different time.
And Orange 9, touring wise.
All right.
That you got to do some shit, right?
We did a lot. I mean, I think one of the only main European tours we did was with Biohazard. And that was amazing.
Yeah.
Those guys, incredible.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Just over there was incredible, like just incredible, memorable, incredible shows. And we did some interesting tours here. We did like one of our first tours was like Ned's Atomic Dustbin or something like that. We did Orange 9 Quicksand Helmet. That was incredible.
That's pretty ill.
That felt like a special time in music in my bones, I guess. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It definitely was. That like music was it had it was something fresh was coming out with like this hybrid.
Yeah, exactly.
Old hardcore dudes doing some other shit. That's what I call it. Music that old hardcore dudes do. And it could be whatever. Like, like if it's a Social Distortion style or whatever, you could tell like, oh, that comes from where we come from. They just decided to try something else.
Absolutely.
And that's fucking and how long was Orange? What was the Orange 9 run for?
It was like 95 to 2000 maybe.
And
it's not that long.
And what you did, what was the record, and what else? What you did? How many? 2 things, right?
We did a bunch. We did 2 LPs. We did Driving Not Included, Tragic. Then we did the EP on Revelation. Then we did this EP, Ultraman vs. Godzilla, and Pretend I'm Human LP.
You have a lot of fucking.
There's maybe 3 LPs.
And recording, you got to record in any Big Willie Studios, any Big Willie dudes?
Yeah, we recorded at El Dorado with Dave Jordan, who did Alice in Chains, Jane's Addiction, and this guy Brian. I forgot, we used to call him Kyler, but I forgot his last name. But he's a great engineer.
How was that? Oh shit! Like
it was. I mean, it used to be Marvin Gaye's studio, so I mean, it's pretty. I mean, it's just incredible. You know what I mean?
None of us belong within a mile of that place. We're like property value dropped big time for you.
Yeah, that's
Marvin Gaye's the king. Yo, what happened? That's dope, man.
That's a fact. But yeah, I mean they had this guy called the Drum Doctor, right? He came out there. He had all these different drum sets, and he would like listen to the song, and he'd come like swap out the drums and put different mics up and like put speakers in the room. And they'd record the speakers like Matt playing drums, like they'd be like recording it. I mean, there's a lot of the production. That's interesting for me to think about now. Dave Jordan's production was pretty interesting now that I think about how we got some of those drum sounds.
And as a singer, did you feel like, or did you do your thing your way, or did this guy these big?
I mean, make you try? I sang so I was constantly spitting up mucus. I was singing so hard. You know what I mean? It was, I mean, because they kept saying, sing it harder,
I say it harder. How much fucking harder you want this shit?
Yeah, I mean, wow. I'm just thinking about that was. But I think I like how those vocals sound on that first record, especially,
I mean, and you guys had success with the band. I mean, like, I mean, and that's another thing. It's like, you seem to have had a good little momentum with like, what you were doing with you'll catch a momentum with shit what you do, you know what I mean?
So who knows? Maybe I'll catch momentum with Ghost Decibels.
Yeah, exactly. And then, all right, so that goes on, and then did the same thing. What Orange 9? Did that happen?
Well, Chris left Orange 9 after the first record, so it kind of the whole basis of the pyramid kind of got flipped up a bit.
Yeah.
And Taylor, who's a wonderful musician, didn't really want to play heavy music.
Gotcha. So you already trying to keep.
So now we're at a point where I'm like, okay, well, this is like my thing, and now like I guess I'm gonna let's collaborate. And we made some wonderful songs. I think that Pretend Not Human record's got good stuff on it, But I know I wanted to do heavier shit, and Taylor didn't want to do heavy shit.
Yeah.
And just there was just like there was no longer a passion for, and even a genre for what we were really trying to do.
Yeah, it's weird when that happens, right? When you kind of go genre and then there's no more genre, or it's kind of like one.
Or you're outside of the genre, like because now we're doing something that falls outside of what everybody else signed up for when they said, "Oh, Orange 9."
Yeah.
It's like if you guys came out doing like something different. I'm not saying acoustic because a Madball acoustic would be great. But if you guys came out doing some kind of jazz thing, people might be like, this doesn't do the Mad. I want Madball.
Yeah, no, totally. And fast forward, I remember this. I remember so obviously, we're being with Freddie and everybody when like we're always talking bands when what's gonna be the next Super Bowl, whatever. And then they were like, yo, we got when that was coming. And I remember being like, yo, that's gonna be good. And I remember specifically before you played, I saw you upstairs and I talked to you real quick. And I remember you seemed nervous. And
I was nervous.
I remember going, yo, what up? And you're like, yo, what's up? And I was like, oh, yo, man, you guys are gonna kill it. And you were like, yo, man, I hope. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And then I was like, because I know the vibe. I know people were waiting for it. And I was like, oh, I remember telling myself, oh, he's gonna see. And I remember watching you guys. Mm-hmm. That was to me, the two best. My two favorite all-time Black and Blue sets were Judge and that Burn set. I think for sonically, the vibe of the show, the tightness of the band, those two sets were identical for me as being flawless.
Wow, that's amazing.
For me, I was like, these motherfuckers, like, where, I'm almost jealous. I was like, man, I wish I was playing that. I said the same thing with you guys, and when Judge played, and I even was like, let me, I wanted to be I want to catch.
It's crazy.
I want to catch something fucked up, and I'm like, yo, fucking, well, both you guys and the Judge said, perfect.
It's crazy, and we might have had the same sound guy for both those shows, because I know that Judge people know Chris Gibby, what's his last name? But just Gibby, sound guy. He did our sound. It's important. It's so important to have a good sound guy.
And not only that, but the sounds of you guys,
well, that too, but
and the sound guy. But I mean, it was, and the set, and I remember being like, and people were going off. That was like, it's like a highlight reel. You got your highlight reel from that set. You know what I mean? Like, which is great.
That felt amazing. I definitely will tell you. Thanks for having us. So that felt just.
No, and it was great, and it was a good. Like, you know what it was? It was like it was one of the, I was psyched to see you guys popping up again playing, because it was like a lot of older bands. You guys were a band that were it was weird, like it was never the Gorilla Biscuit band, but you were that band that always bobbed and weaved under there, so it was good to have that. It was like, like you guys never got played out.
Right. Yeah. We stopped playing out.
That's what I'm saying. So that was good. So it still felt fresh to see you guys come back. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I seen Burn a billion times. Even though I seen a lot of I probably seen all the New York shows, because it was.
Oh yeah, those shows. Because I think we just ended up being on shows that pretty much the whole scene was at for. Yeah. Because there was other bands as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then I know you always recording with that, and that's always lingering around. And then now, so I know again, what's dope is like, you're always doing something new. And I know this is your new shit, but you've been doing it for a minute with the Ghost Decibels.
That's correct.
And I know a lot of it is, what do you call it? Symphonic? How would you call it? What you call it? What's the word? Hydroponic?
I think you just coined a new genre.
So there you go. It's
symphonic.
Synthon rock.
So, Mr. Ghost Decibels, what kind of music do you play? It's called symphonics.
Symphonic. It's from the cousin of Ebonics, and it's called symphonics.
You know what? Accurate.
They
accurate. Holy shit. Yeah. My music is electronic ebonics.
There you go. Chaka, that one's on the house. The next one, I'm gonna need a fucking point on the next record.
Symphonics.
But yeah, there you go. Symphonics, hydroponics,
Mantronics.
Right.
And
But,
Mantronics, I love that era of music because this is what I'm gonna share. All right, so like we know hardcore, like you step into the hardcore thing, especially if you listen to like older hardcore videos, you'll see like the guitar players are not doing a lot of work and they're creating a lot of heat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a lot of like, what am I going to do now? Energy, like that just starts coming off of very few chords.
Yeah.
And even today, you see people playing the same few chords, but they're not generating the heat.
Yeah.
What I shared to say this. All right. So this holidays, this whole coronavirus shit, like family, limiting how, so me and my mom, we had our day for the holidays, right? And like, she's like a huge TV and her Bluetooth, and she's like, oh, you want to watch something? I was like, I don't see you. Let's listen to some music or some shit. So she's like, all right, what do you want to hear? So I'm like, yo, I've been listening. Remember King Sunny Ade? Sunny Ade is this kind of African guitar player. But we started talking about Fela. And there's this song, Fela, Sorrow, Tears, and Blood. When you just hear it come on, you can't not dance. It just makes you feel good. It's like not the first time that you saw like, have you seen the cover of Bishop Hill Gang, the Message? Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5. The original cover with them in the boombox.
Yeah.
Remember the first time you saw that, how you felt warm? You felt like, I want to know more about this.
Yeah.
That's how that video feels. There's none of the negative. It's pure curiosity and no negativity. And I think that's what I'm really hoping to get from music now, because I think now we've come to the point where like we have to chase our negative tails to try to be the hardest or the thisest or the baddest.
Yeah.
And it's kind of not a race to the bottom, but I think the beauty of hardcore and what we do is that there's so much that's not spoken or said, that's implied in how it all comes together, that pushes out, that makes it heavy.
Yeah.
Right? Because I listen to death metal, something, it just sounds tuned down to me. That there's nothing heavy about it. There's nothing emotional about it. There's nothing making me feel concerned or feel anxious or any of that. Right.
Yep.
And I think that just like right now, like listen, I would just for people, listen for in music, like what allows you to feel free? Like what allows you to feel, oh, I can think when I listen to this. Oh, I know this is my jogging music. People have that, but like what other kinds of ways can you enjoy music?
You know what it is, Chaka? It don't matter what the genre is, you could tell if music has soul or not. And that's what it is. You can make anything sound. We could copy any genre. I could make right now a death metal song, but you could tell if I'm faking the funk because you'll feel. You won't feel the soul. There's soul in everything.
What do you think that soul is? I agree with you. What is soul?
That's want. Soul is want, meaning I want to play this riff. I really want to play this genre. I really want this sound to go next to this. So I'm playing it like I really want it. Your hands, that's why you could taste it in cooking and when playing and like however it is that you let out your signals or whatever. You could do that and you could tell. I could hear shit. Okay, a studio player, he could play anything. But all right, now you can find a guy who's maybe not as classically trained, but he's from the junkyards of fucking Louisiana, and he's playing some fucking shit that you're crying listening to him play two strings.
Bam.
Feel it. You know why? Because that guy's living it. I want this to be it, not just like, this is what I like. No, this is what I am.
And what I need to express. I love that.
When you're that, you're gonna feel it. And I think
I think that's beautiful.
You know what I mean?
Right there.
And
what do you need to express? What do you need to, if I were to ask you, what do you need to express? What would be your response?
To me is it's kind of hard to say. It's just whatever it is at that moment, I want you to feel, I want you to know exactly how I feel at that moment, whatever it is. So I try to paint a perfect picture.
Right.
I don't want you to be like, I want you to have an idea of what I'm feeling. No, I want you to know, he's doing bad in this. He's doing this.
I love the emphasis. I think you're adding emphasis to what my thought was. I think that's beautiful.
And it's and again, it's just I guess we're lucky that we have music, and everybody doesn't have something where that gives them a chance to be like, I could do that. That lets them express themselves and how far they could express themselves and how they express themselves. Not everybody has that. some people got to go to 9 to 5 and they don't got the time.
Oh man.
And
I mean,
they end up fucking falling down. Homeboy with the fucking glasses.
Michael Douglas.
You end up being that.
He's just wilding out. What's something? He snapped, wilded out. That was it. Good night.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But like, all right, the Ghost Decibels, some other vibe, totally vibe shit. Like, I know you said, I've heard that you did like, you maybe played out a little bit with it, but it was so far you just kind of recording stuff, right?
You know, I played out, but I mean, I played out, and actually, oddly, I met my ex-girl. So like, I reached out to a woman I knew at the time. I was like, yo, I'm like, I need 2 modern dancers for this show I'm doing at Grand Victory, right? Because I was just figuring like it'd be them dancing and just me doing the songs, right? To tracks, like hip hop style. And so these 2 girls came down. I was like, all right, great, perfect, thank you. I paid them for their time or whatever. Then the one ended up staying after, and she became my girlfriend. But that's just a kind of funny story. But for like 4 years.
Wow.
But the funny shit is this, like, when it comes to the art, and this goes back to you, right? When you shared that you want someone to know exactly what you're talking about. When it comes to this shit here, I don't know if you can. When it comes to that, like, I feel like I'm closer to that manifestation of giving you a big picture, or not giving you a total picture. But when it comes to how does this thing look when I present it visually in live, I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's the fucking challenge, Mary. And I just don't know what the fuck it looks like. I don't know how to make it interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't been focusing on that because I'm trying to get the music to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, so I have my homegirl Mariah is supposed to make some video for me, and I have other friends doing visuals for me. But I mean, I don't know. Like, if you were me, what would you do? Let's start.
I'd have to sit in a room and blast it. And what do you call it? I would have to really intoxicate myself with nature's lettuce, and then I would have to and I would just have to open up my chakras, my Chaka Khan. I would have to open my Chaka Khans up, right?
That's what's up.
No, I don't know. You know what it is? I know it's crazy. It's weird. Like especially again, we come from bands and we know that
Exactly.
we want to paint the whole picture. So it's a big missing part if we don't have the visual, the sound, everything at once.
A band, it's easy. I know that you're going to be playing the bass and you're going to be standing over here, here. There's going to be a drummer. Good night, right?
Yeah.
But with me and like some music, like, do I have like a keyboard out? Is it true? Am I really playing the songs? Am I not? Like,
I know what you mean.
Is anyone else there on stage?
Really? And it's curious because it's funny because I have another group that I've been working on.
True Union?
The True Union stuff. And it's it's basically more on a rock tip. It's like I always say, it's like if AC/DC broke down in Corona, Queens and recorded it and had James Brown's drummer,
Oh, that sounds crazy.
So,
give me a guest vocal.
Yeah. And it's some shit like that, but it's cool kind of like that. But I also think how I present it, it's not, as simple as rock and roll as it is. I have my own visual, even if it's hard for me to put it into words, but I'm on the same boat where I want to make sure I roll it out the right way, because I want people to I want the best chance for the people to interpret it the way I did.
Boom.
So I want to make sure all the bells and whistles are as close as to I can make it. You know 100%. What I mean? So it's like, so I get it when like laying something out new, why people are so anal with every aspect of it. So
I mean, I just think because my main challenge, everything you said is true, and highlighting that, like that show, I thought it was really boring. I look at pictures from it, I'm like, oh my god, this looks boring.
Yeah.
When you're there and you're seeing 2 attractive women do interpretive modern dance, it's not as boring, right? It turns into what I want. For me, Ghost Decibels, I consider myself an artist, right? For me, Ghost Decibels is I want to be classic, like in the museum sense. I want to be able to play in the museum. You know what I mean? I want you to go to the Whitney and be able to see me play, right?
Yeah.
While there's other shit, maybe there's other art. I don't care. I'm not, because I value art. I love art. Like, so for me, like anything, and then Murphy's Law was in the Guggenheim, right? I mean, so you know what I mean? Like, I want to be one of these people that is able to share art, right? Music, I think sharing the music is there, but there's something about the art that gives another layer. The art is the transpersonal piece or the interpersonal piece, right? The music is one thing, but then when you can see me perform it and you can see me and I can see you, right? Now this becomes a whole different experience. We're both exchanging on another level now.
Absolutely.
versus just the music, which I love the music, right?
Absolutely. You know, it's like I tell people, I was like, it's very important that's why when I lay it out, because I tell people, I'm gonna let everybody out there, I'm gonna give the world the magic trick. You know, when you're in front of somebody pre-COVID, before you COVID people, but
right.
you know, if you're looking at me and I'm talking to you and if I'm trying to explain something to you and I'm looking right in your eyes and I even put my arm on your shoulder when I'm making the point, you're gonna really realize that I'm making a statement, because all your senses, I'm hitting all your senses by touching and touching. I try to do the same with the music, and that's what a lot of people do. Because you want to stimulate people with as many senses as possible to leave an impression on them. And
100%.
And how many times we've liked the song more after we saw the video, or we didn't like a song till we saw the video. That's happened to all of us. I could speak for the world.
It paints the picture, finishes the picture for you.
You know, and then and it can even be a song that you probably wouldn't have gave the chance, but you like the video, you put it, and now you're hearing it, and now you hear it because you're
relating it to the visual, how you felt when you saw the video.
Yes, and that's it. And I say that thing is so embedded in my brain. I lay out everything like that, even if it takes me longer, you know, because I'm
that's fuck.
Like, put like this, even if you're gonna diss me, I want you to diss me with all bells and whistles on. I want every chance.
I'm like, you're a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Exactly. You know what? At the end of the day I want to crack that code of you thinking my shit is dope. So I'm not gonna force it. I'm gonna make you want it, but I'm gonna keep going at it till I beat you at it. That's the difference. Like, to me, I want to make, not like, yo, you gotta like what I like. No, I'm like, you don't think it's dope? I'm gonna keep hitting you till I get you. I'm gonna make you like it.
Exactly.
Like, give me something to grind to, like, you know what I mean? Like, and
because at the end, what are you doing? You're just. I think that when our music is more connected, we're just being more connected with humanity, right, at large. You know what I mean? The more connected. I feel like my worst music is when I'm like all in here, like, that's the stuff that nobody cares about, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's and what's the deal with the ghost? Like, so are you just collecting music now? Are you putting stuff together? Or like?
Yeah, I just released an EP last night. Last night being the 30th. It's called Haunted Houses.
And there you go. And what's that on? Because this is gonna drop on Thursday.
Booyah. So, yeah, that's on my Bandcamp. It should be on all the streaming platforms shortly thereafter.
Oh shit! All right, boom. And is it? So it's on that. Are you gonna put up, do any type of videos or any type?
Yeah, one of my friends said, my friend Mariah is supposed to be making me a video for. There's a song on there called "When the System Dies," but I want to try to get a video for. I want videos for all these. I think they're kind of. Like I said, like I fancy myself an artist, so I'm gonna let myself make what I make. I don't really adhere to formulas, and sometimes it sounds like soundtrack music, and sometimes it doesn't. And I like soundtrack music, But I think that I feel like I keep getting better, right? With each kind of grouping, and getting closer to something that people are like. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like you're talking to somebody, like I'm like, you're in a foreign country, you're trying to ask where the bathroom is at. You're like, we, and then they're like, So you finally do the gesture. They say,
By George, I got it.
And that's what I'm trying to do with to your point, right? Just continuing to manifest and get to the point where someone's, I get it. Boom, Hoya, you got me. Yo, Hoya, honestly, I got to shout out Hoya. He got me with that last joint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That, right? I feel like we're like scientists. You know what I mean? Like you're in the lab, right? You're in the lab, you're mixing elements, and like you're lighting that shit a Bunsen burner, you're watching it explode or not, back to the lab, back to the fucking lab, manifesting shit. Does this work?
No, for sure. And again, I shout out, guys like you who always did music throughout the years, and anybody who's continue to try to make music and do all that, because like I said, there's two types of people, and I said it on our other podcast, and I don't give a fuck. This is my podcast. I'll say it on every one if I have to. But the hardest shit I've ever heard was David Lee Roth. I think it was on Howard Stern or something. He said the hardest shit. He said he ran into one of his friends from high school. And when his friend told him, yo, man, David, yo, you the luckiest guy in the world. Yo, you got the life. Yo, David, you're the luckiest, blah, 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 blah. And he looked at him and he goes, yo, I just didn't quit. You did. because his friend was in a band too. And he basically just almost said, yo, not just like bigged himself up, hard work, and I'm gifted. He was like, I basically, without saying it, I stuck through it like we did. And when you stick through it, you know, like the thing, you know, most likely people are gonna, you know, something's gonna evolve from it, period. It's just going to, even if it's the worst thing in the world.
Oh, okay. I mean, I prefer that we had better results than that. I mean,
yeah. No, but you know, and it's like, it's just crazy. It's like, it's crazy. It's like, I just tell people like, you know, do what you want to do. You know, it's, you know, especially keep creating. I learned later on in life, and I learned from the younger cats. You know, like I would watch my, you know, I would corner myself into like what I could do, and you know, I'm a Madball. I could only do this and that. I could only, and you know, I couldn't come out the box. I'm like, yeah, I can't come out the box with Madball, but I could do other music. I never let myself breathe till later on in life. And then when I would watch these other bands, you know, or like the whole crew, the Turnstile, Trapped on the Rice crew, like all these dudes got 10 bands, the same dudes. Shout out to all those bands, man. But they were all play different styles of music. And they were like, why not? We're homeboys. Why not? And nobody blinked an eye. And I go, yeah, who the fuck's gonna blink an eye if I want to do something else? You know, like, you know, and I used to think, you know, put too much pressure on, you know, and then on myself and just be like, at the end of the day, do whatever the fuck you want, you know, express yourself how you want to express yourself, despite what your history is or what people think you might or what you should sound like.
I agree with that 100%. I think that's really important to share. And I think that it's also, I'm glad that you shared that you wish you had did it earlier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think for me, one of the things like I hit your DMs about collaborating maybe a couple months.
Yeah, we're gonna do something. We're gonna do something. I'm getting my shit, my act together.
One of the things that I came to too late in life was like, not too late, but later. Like I never liked to collaborate with people. Now I'm like, I love collaborating. I love having people come over and sing over my beats. I love, you know, the idea of doing, like I'm doing a collaboration with this guy Greg from that band Trial.
Yeah.
A guy named Charles, and that's kind of something that's kind of up my alley from a lyrical standpoint and a music standpoint. But collaborating's great, you know, it invigorates you. It gives you another perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a release, right, for you from all the pent up energy of working on something. You can still kind of be creative because I think as artists, we want to keep doing something. It's like no fun to not do nothing, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right? You know, so these collaborations.
Yeah, you know, and that's what, you know, for me, you know, like, you know, we, you know, obviously Madball, we carry that hardcore flag on our back, like
big time.
You know, it's like, and that's who we are, and we always will, and we do that. We drag, like, you know, that's us.
I think you guys kept hardcore alive, honestly.
You know, but thank you. You know, we definitely are proud to be the guys in the trenches if we got to be the guys in the trenches, you know.
Right.
But the thing is, having all those years of being so, you know, we are those motherfuckers. Yeah, this is us that it wouldn't let me breathe outside of it.
Right. Yeah.
I got older and I started saying, wait a minute, I'm not what are you calling? I'm not putting anything. I'm not slacking in the hardcore department if I want to do some other type.
Yeah, no one.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's gonna be like, hey, I think Hoya's a sellout.
No, my hardcore cred. I said, you know, and I don't care about cred because fuck cred. I've been, you know, again, another thing I'm proud of Madball is, you know, 26 years non-stop, and we're working on our 10th album. Incredible. So, you know, so
it embarrasses me to hear that.
I respect every band before me. The band that did the 170s of the OG did it in 1980 to the newest. But unless you match my record, don't come at me with any shit of what I could do and not doing this hardcore shit. Period. 100%. So the only niggas that could got any say who could have an opinion on me is AF and Sick of It All. Right. And you know, otherwise I don't give a fuck. Even then, I don't give a fuck. We do what we want, how we want, and those niggas all know how we do. But why I do it is because I say it that proud because we live this hardcore shit. We love it. Like that's us, like everything about it. Look at, you know, we're grown men and we fed our families. We met our families.
Yeah.
And this thing's kept us out of jail.
Right.
This thing
my dear sister.
Listen, this thing not only kept us out of jail, it kept people alive, and it helped bury people. This thing helped put my mother in the ground. This thing helped friends of ours, you know, eat in jail. This thing it's beyond what people don't understand when I say we live this hardcore. Like I know and I appreciate, I know, but just as good as anybody what this hardcore shit means to somebody.
Yeah, respect to you.
You know, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I'm like, that's like, we come from something special, man. You know, like to have the world, a blanket of people around the world that, because of this music shit, I go anywhere in the world and I got a bed to sleep in and a plate to eat. That beats anything. I don't need a gold record.
Yeah, that's humbling and really.
And it's real, because man, on my birthdays, you know how it is on your birthday. You see the people that write you. Just imagine that. They're like, who the fuck? You're like, yo, like just to get people thinking of you on that day. I got homeboys that won't tell me, happy birthday. Not that they
Sasha hasn't texted me every birthday in like 5
that's
years.
All right. Like, I won't hit Ezek for nothing on purpose, just because he talks so much shit. I won't hit him for nothing, just to make him boil. But you know what I mean? But no, I'm just glad, again, I guess, I'm glad of where we came from. That's why I'm like, and especially now, like seeing dudes, like not just myself, but like I said, guys doing this platforms, putting out we have friends doing digital, live streaming, putting out new music.
Freddie Alba doing his graffiti books.
Connecticut, opening up his record shop.
Yeah.
There's our people in there. You know what I mean? We got hardcore kids making moves and getting in there. In society more and more. And we got people in there. In government, and I got not only here, in all over the world, there's hardcore kids that are everywhere, and
that's humbling to think about it. Wow.
And like we said, we come from wanting to rebuild. So if we could stay with this shit and we have the right people in the right places, maybe something good could happen. But fucking Ghost Decibels, where we could catch everything, Chaka.
Oh yeah.
Catch you on your Ghost
Instagram.
Instagram.
Ghost_decibels. I have like another ghost. I have two. One's ghost underscore. One's ghost not. The ghost underscores has way more followers, so please follow that one. I don't even post on the other one. It's just a backup. And I have my Bandcamp, Ghost Decibels on Bandcamp.
And go get that shit. You just dropped it last night. You said, right?
Yeah. Dropped that last night. If anybody is an Orange 9 head, we're releasing that. As I shared that tragic reissue out of Europe. I think it's pretty much gone, but I would check if you're interested in that. And we're gonna do some more. We're gonna do that gun shirt that we had back in the day.
Yeah. Also, yeah, dope. I was gonna say. So, any merch you got up? Anything? Where could
we're gonna do some. There should be a Ghost Decibel shirt link, and maybe even the Orange 9 one in my bio by the time this comes out. But
you should put all that shit up. People want to get it, and why not? You know what I mean? We're not like I tell people, no, we got something. We got something for something. You know what I mean?
That's how it works.
We hardcore dudes. We hustle. We don't want that. We don't say gimme. We say, okay, what you want for that? We give you this.
Yeah. Or hey,
you know what I mean?
You like this?
Yeah, exactly. I gotta open up my jacket, like you know what I mean.
Instead of watches, you got hats.
Yeah, okay, exactly. So
remember that? Oh my god, that's such a throwback.
No, like in good times. In good times. My
Yeah.
man was like, my name is Lenny. Yeah, that was my man. But fuck it up. But yo, Chaka, I'm glad you were able to do this.
Me too. Thank you.
Shout out to Burn, shout out to Ghost Decibels, shout out to Gavin. One day I'm gonna get you at your fucking Dutch Mexican ass on here. But yo, go follow Ghost Decibels. Go get his new shit now on Bandcamp. And fucking yo, Chaka, we talk soon. Good looking out. I'll send you the poster. This comes out Thursday. One love, bro.
Let me say one last thing. Everybody, just put out good vibes, every day. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you're having a great day, but it just fucking helps you. It helps other people. Just do your best just to try to resonate with positivity. It will change your life. I promise you. Facts. One love, Chaka. All right. Yo, peace for you. Thank you so much. Peace.